Hey all, this is Falcon Paradox, and I'm replying to ShukuenShinobi's review of figma Kamen Rider Torque. As always, I want to thank ShukuenShinobi for his great review of Kamen Rider Torque. I'm a huge Ryuki fan, gonna make it my mission to get all 13 riders, and wanted to give my second opinion on this, say what I liked and didn't like about the figure, and find out if this figure is right for you, a must-have or a must-not. As always, we're going to start off with the sculpt. Really like the sculpt in the helmet. Very well done. Nice I want to say articulation. A sculpting in here with the gears up in by the ear and all around. Very consistent. From the neck down, that thing always falls off. From the neck down, we have these little beam things right there. Very nice little detailing in there to actually make it look kind of like a beam. Very nicely done. There's little dots in there too where there's supposed to be little lights. Really like that. Very consistent all the way around. The sculpt on here is actually very, very nicely done. Seems like they really paid attention to a lot of little details and stuff. I mean, even getting up in here, you really didn't have to do that, but oh, wow, they really did. Something I'm going to say about the sculpt right here is Shukuen mentioned that these antenna up here, this one is of a flexible soft plastic, and then I don't have it on me right now, it's in a baggie, but there's the other one that's made of a hard plastic. I love when a company does this, where they give you extra parts when they really don't need to do it. The only problem is I really don't see why you would need two of them. I guess you use the hard one in case it breaks, then you can use the soft one that won't break. The sculpting detail up in here, I mean, you can't really see it from the camera, but it looks like they sculpted the line and then they went over it with a bit of black paint or a wash, I guess you could call it, and it turned out really well. Very, very impressed with their attention to detail on that level. It doesn't necessarily consistent around the rest of the figure. It is consistent on the Giga Launcher, but really like that detail. Of course, these parts are posable. I don't really see why. They don't really do anything else other than I just like having it articulated, you know? Little details like that. Love that kind of stuff. Now, the paint job is very nicely done here as well, aside the black line that I just mentioned. My problem with the figure would be this paint right here along the side of the tread in here. The silver paint didn't quite get into the little grooves around here. In fact, it went above the groove, so it looked like there was a nice big silver line across the bottom of it, while this other one was relatively consistent. I guess it wouldn't be too bad, except when you looked at the figure straight on, it looked crooked, and that bothered me. So a little bit of Mr. Color touched that thing right on up. Other than that, the rest of the figure is real consistent with paint. Let's move on to the accessories here. We have the magnivisor. Really like this, but it suffers from molditis. Molditis is what I call when you get a mass-produced figure like this, and of course it's made in a mold and it's cast, and when it's taken out of the cast, it'll rip off of the rack, and they didn't bother to sand down this little part right here, so it looks like a huge scab, or it looked like I might have even taken a lighter to it. It's also up here at the top. Just looks awful, which is a shame because this thing is so small and so detailed, and yet you got crappy things like that getting in the way of a really good thing. You'll also notice that this is all silver here. That's all my fault. The bull emblem that's supposed to be there is a laser printed decal, and I kind of scratched it up doing something stupid, so I'm paying the price by having it all silver because I airbrushed that. Coincidentally, I happen to have his R&M magnivisor right here, which is kind of an etched-on line that looks kind of like the Superman emblem, like a diamond kind of shape sort of thing in there, no paint. And then this is the Sochaku Henshin version, which actually went out of its way to sculpt the bull emblem on there, which is what it's supposed to be. So when you compare all three of them side by side, I have to say the Sochaku Henshin version wins out. Even though it's a little bit more flat and streamlined, it's more accurate as far as the bull emblem goes. The Sochaku Henshin and the R&M series have these little pegs right here on the side, so they'd plug into the figure easier. And this one does plug into the zip thread, but it's just barely being held on by force. that's it. So if you touch this thing just a little bit, that thing's going to come popping right on off. So I'd be careful about that. You wouldn't want to drop this and scratch up your paint job. I'm mixed on this. For one, the detail is much better than both the Shochoku Henshin and R&M versions. There's nice black lines up in here, giving some really good detail. Sorry, I know you can't tell from the camera. The black lines continue all the way around here, through this front part here, and into the front over here by the actual metal part. Very nicely done, consistent with torque. It's heavy, though. Very heavy, actually. And I actually dropped it, and this little scope part thingy came off. Crazy Glue fixed that right up. But it really is quite heavy. So heavy that the figure has a hard time holding it. The one issue I really had was the size. It seemed very, very short. And coincidentally, we're going to do a test right here on the spot. And what do you know, I just happen to have a ruler, sorry, it's metric, and torque right here. So we're going to line these guys up and find out exactly how they fare. Now, it seems there's about a half of a centimeter down there missing, so shave off a half a centimeter. So from the foot down up comes up to exactly 13, minus the half a centimeter, so that's going to be 12 and a half, okay? The Giga Launcher comes up, we'll call that 17, because it's a little bit above 17 and a half. Now this was the crappy Shochoku Henshin model one. This barely comes up to 16 and a half. And then we have the Rider Monster Series one, which I think is the most accurately sized one. And this thing, and I know you can't see it, but it goes up to a whopping 26 3/4, which means it's over 26 centimeters for this hulking piece of plastic. I remember when I first saw the show and I first saw Zolda with this, I was like, holy crap, he's got a telephone pole bazooka. But the point is that this thing is pretty undersized. Alright, well, let's see here. What are we missing? I'll tell you what we're missing. We're missing the backpack that goes on him. I am so disappointed that he didn't come with his Giga Cannon. That would be this. This is from the Shochoku Henshin series. That would be this thing that was supposed to be right here. And he would just kind of sit back and go with this. And it's missing. I'm so disappointed. I can totally excuse the not having the Giga Shield. I know, what was it, the Giga Horn, that was his strike vent, was never used in the show. It was in the game, but we have a card for it, but we never actually saw it. I can totally let that go. But not the Giga Cannon. I really wanted that thing. It's just a shame to see this thing missing. I would have gladly paid an extra 500 or 600 yen for it. Way to go, Max Factory. Way to go. One last little gripe that I had was the choice of hands. His left hand will come with the appropriate hand to hold the magnifier, which is here. Now, how do you hold the card? Because the hand that holds the card, which just dropped off of this, even though I had it already, is also the left, or I'm sorry, I guess looking at it, it's the left, the right hand. So how do you do this? I guess you have to take that off like that, even though he uses his right hand to activate it. So somehow, you're going to have to try and fit the hand into one of these little fingers that come in the extra hand on the right hand, or something like that. Or just not have him hold this at all, just have him with the card. Kind of like, you know, I'd use my final vent on you if I could use the card and the freaking gun at the same time. You're just lucky I'm going to let you go. Alright, let's just get to the score already. Paint is going to get 4 out of 5. Max Factory just needs some quality control. Little issues with paint, like here in the tread and everything, but other than that, a little bit of a step up from the other figures, I'd say. That and little issues with the magnifier. The sculpt is going to get a 3.5 out of 5. Issues with the molditis scabs on the bottom of the Gigavisor and on the top over here. Not having an alternate hand to hold the card in his left hand while using the visor. The undersized Giga Launcher. That was a bit of an issue for me. And plus, it's just really heavy. I mean, I can think of a number of different ways that they could have made this lighter, cheaper, with a hollower piece of plastic, and it probably would have done the job better, but that's a moot point. Accessories get a 3. 2 words, Giga Cannon. Come on. Look how cool this would have looked. Seriously. Come on. They could have done it. They could have. Articulation's going to get 4. He's a bit more limited than Wing and Dragon Knight, especially in the shoulders, and that's about as far up as you're going to get it. So, yeah, no jumping jacks. Other than that, everything else is standard figma articulation. Fun factor is going to get a 4. When it comes to melee fighting, torque is disadvantage, which may affect play. But he's a key character in Ryuki, so if you watch it, you'll get more enjoyment out of it. So the grand total is going to be 3.5 stars. The issues here are obvious. Though Zolda lived to the end of the series, technically, he never really did anyone in. Torque did off camo, and he gets some props for that one. But overall, I found his character a bit dull. Probably my least favorite rider in Ryuki. Maybe it's because he didn't really look anything like his animal. But, I don't know, we could debate this all day. In any case, he gets a recommendation to complete the 4 main riders, to complete all 13 riders, or any fans of Zolda or final events that'll wipe out a city block. But as a casual watcher or a newcomer to the series, I've got to say, Torque is a pass. Hey, I want to thank you guys for watching my second opinion review. Take care, everybody.